Hi friends. Okay, getting back to work today. I have to tell you guys, I am really worn out. For anybody who doesn't know, which is going to be most of you guys, this is not my full-time job. I do have a job. I work as a bartender, and it is 4th of July week. So yesterday was the 4th. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day to everybody. But I worked the 3rd and the 4th, and I got home around 1 a.m. the last 2 days. Uh, and I was just nonstop insanity. It was so much fun, but I am very, very, very tired. So I'm going to try to get what I can done today. It is time to start framing walls. But we have some rain coming in this week. So I would love to be taking today off and resting my body, but it looks like today, which is Friday, and then Sunday may be the only days I can really get work done this week. So I'm gonna try to get done what I can today. But before I start working, I did want to address just a couple of things. I've mentioned this in a previous video. First off, I am not a professional builder. This is not a how to build a house or cabin channel. This is my journey building my own homestead, and the way that I build may not be the way that someone else does. There's been a lot of opinions about the things that I'm doing, and that's okay. You can have your opinions. Okay, so but there's probably been some like natural curiosity about why I'm doing some of the things I'm doing. So first and foremost, why am I using screws and not nails putting together this foundation and for what I'm doing on my walls? The reason is because I'm building with green lumber, you guys. This is all lumber that I have milled myself from timber on the property. I have a mix of black and white spruce here. Sorry, excuse me, a little phlegm. And I'm wealthy in it. Like, these are some of the biggest trees I've seen on the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. And I would be silly to not take advantage of them. Building with green lumber isn't ideal, but it can be done. But there are certain things you need to do to mitigate some of the structural deficiencies you might have later. So I'm using structural construction grade screws. So they are potentially not going to snap on me like a normal screw would in the future, but they're going to help limit some of the movement and twisting as this wood dries over time. So that's the reason for that. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other opinions. I'm not a professional framer, but I'm going to get to work, you guys. So I love you all. Stick with me. Okay, also a couple things that you guys missed this last week. This is my wood stove. So I got this wood stove used and I got a good deal on it. It is a Glacier Bay coal burning and wood burning stove. So I thought that was really neat that I'm gonna have the ability to burn either. Preferably I'd burn wood, but in a pinch I can burn coal. And one of the cool things up here in Alaska is that you can go to the beach and you can beach comb for coal. It just washes up from the ocean. So I'll probably have a stockpile of that on hand also. But this thing's cast iron. It weighs about 700 pounds. So my neighbor was a gem. He used his excavator and he carried it up here to the property for me, and we set it on the platform. And I'm going to build the house around it because I figured that that would be easier than trying to move it in after with it being so heavy. Also gonna have a couple things going on with this little well. I know that 10 feet is very, very shallow. But at the time we were digging holes for my piers and we had the excavator here, and I said, what the hell? Dig me a hole as deep as you can go. And that was as deep as the excavator bucket could go. So at the time that we dug the hole, the water table was about 5 or 6 feet above the bottom of the hole. But it's continued to be a really dry summer here, and that water level dropped, and there's only about a foot of water in that little well right now. So what I've done is I've ordered a drive point for a sand point well, and I'm gonna drive it down the middle of that hole so it'll still be under the kitchen, but try to get to 16 or 20 feet. Hopefully, if I can get it that deep. It's not going to be my only source of water, but it was a cheap alternative to try and access what I have here. I'm also putting in rain catchment, and I just brought up a 325 gallon, I think, IBC tote. So I'll be doing stuff with that later down the road, but just thought I'd give you guys an update on that. Last weekend I milled lumber. I milled about 130 2x4s. And so that's another thing that people might have opinions about. I'm building my walls with 2x4s, not 2x6s. This is only a 16 by 24 cabin. It's not a very big space, and with this beast of a wood stove, I'm gonna have no problem heating this thing. Also, because I'm milling the lumber myself, the timber or the boards are a true 2-inch by 4-inch. So when you pick up lumber from, say, Home Depot, a 2x4 is actually 1.5 by 3.5, and a 2x6 is 1.5 by 5.5. So instead of using a 5.5 board, I'm using a 4-inch board. It's 1.5 less. I'm gonna have blue board insulation in the walls with this wood stove. I don't foresee having any problems. But that's just a decision I made based on the amount of timber I had here and the size of the trees and the resources I have. So I may regret it one day, but it's my house. It's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna get to work, you guys. Love ya. Okay, here comes the fun part. Standing these walls up by myself. These first 2 walls I'm doing are going to be the hardest to stand also, because not only do they need to go up, but then they need to slide back because they're going behind the wood stove. I have my ATV with me with the winch, which I may end up using, but I'm gonna try to stand them by hand first. I'm fairly strong. I might be able to do it. We'll see. Yeah, let's just go for it. That thing's heavy. Well, shoot, that's just dragging my whole quad. And I can't get farther back than that because my winch cable's too short. Okay. Okay, remember what I said about how I'm not gonna do this the way someone else might do it? Don't do that. Yeah, you should not be underneath a heavy wall like that with minimal support. OSHA would not approve. But it's up. So. That's pretty secure.